Healthcare and homelessness are two key issues in a Texas primary battle. Democrats Julie Oliver and Heidi Sloan each want to take on incumbent Congressman Roger Williams in November. They're running in U.S. House District 25. It stretches south from just outside the DFW area into parts of Austin and Hays County. We're joined now by Heidi Sloan. Welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started with this whole campaign?
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. I have a background that does not look like I should be running for Congress, fortunately, in some circumstances. I used to be a public school teacher. I worked in a classroom for kids with disabilities, fully integrated with kids who did not have disabilities. And I loved that space. I loved seeing outcomes that were better across the board when we met each other where we are. And after a while there, I got a wild hair and decided I wanted to become a farmer. So I did. And I now work out at Mobile Loaves and Fishes Community First Village. I've been there for, I guess, about 7 years now. And I grow food alongside of people who have previously experienced chronic homelessness. I also really love that work, but of course it is heavy work. It is a heart-heavy work, and after a while, I realized that either I needed to go upstream and start addressing the issues that cause homelessness, or I probably needed to take a step back to protect myself from the grief that was just filling me up every day. And so I did the first one. I doubled down and I started community organizing.
You talked about homelessness, and this has been such a divisive issue, especially in recent months here in Austin, and it's been a big part of what you've been talking about on your campaign. How would you tackle this from the congressional level?
Right. In my work at the local level, I have run into barriers time and time again at the state level, what things that the Texas State Ledge has put into place to prevent municipalities like Austin in truly addressing homelessness and housing insecurity issues as a whole. And I see at the federal level how amendments like the Faircloth Amendment and other laws that prevent us in investing in public housing have really limited what we can do at the state and the local levels. And so Congress is the opportunity to affect housing change across this country. I believe that housing is a human right, and I want people to stay in the homes where they want to grow their families, where they're already growing their communities. I don't think that housing is just a vehicle for the wealthy to get wealthier. So we have a few policies around that. One is rent stabilization, and rent stabilization affects both home ownership. It stabilizes the increasing costs, both value of homes and taxes, and it directly affects the rent costs.
Now, you identify as a Democratic-Socialist. Are you worried that this label, if you will, could hurt you with voters who have been, typically exposed to the incumbent, maybe more conservative, Roger Williams?
Thank you for this question. Roger Williams is a fascinating character, one of the wealthiest members of Congress, a person who inherited some car dealerships up in Fort Worth and Weatherford, Texas, and likes to say to folks that Democratic Socialists want everything just handed to them for free, which is interesting because I work on a farm, and I have worked since I was 15 years old, versus someone who truly was handed a lot at the beginning of his life and has had an entire congressional district carved up and handed it to him as well. And here's the thing, when we knock doors, it does not matter who is on the other side. They're not going to be a red or a blue person. And we use an organizing model that comes directly out of labor. And it says, when I talk to you, I need to be asking questions first, right? I need to hear your story. I need to build trust there. And the questions go, what do you want? How come you don't have that? What do you think it's going to take to get it? And for us, that first question has variability. People are struggling with different things. I want clean water. I want good schools. I want health care. But the second question, how come you don't have those things, is always answered with either someone has power over me, or more often, someone is making a profit off of that. And so, knowing that that is going to be the second answer, we can anticipate the third question. What do you think it's going to take to change that? Folks don't want to hear, just show up and vote on March 3rd. Of course we want you to show up and vote on March 3rd, of course. But we need so much more than that. We need you, standing shoulder to shoulder with your neighbor, showing up for the fights that affect our lives every single day, for the politics that follows us home, that follows us to our schools and our jobs and our healthcare, and mandates how we interact with the environment. I don't care if they ever call themselves a democratic socialist or not. I want them to know that their voice matters, that they have power, and the best thing we can do is use our power collectively together.
Heidi Sloan, thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Sloan will face Julie Oliver in the March 3rd Democratic primary. You can see our full interviews with Oliver and Sloan online now in the Texas Politics section of this station's website.